Nothing's stopping it now.
Hello, I'm your host, Samantha Sauer.
And I am Levi Peterson, and today we are talking about misadventures with a chronic illness. Literally.
And apparently podcasting because oops. So hi.
I feel like if every single podcast starts with Sam doing something unprofessional, it's just gonna look really, really hilarious.
The whole point was just to be ourselves. So here we are.
They've
I'm
come to
weird.
expect it by now, which I think is rather fortunate.
Yeah. So today we were planning on talking about traveling with gastroparesis and just chronic illness in general and how friggin' annoying it is to travel when you have a lot of shit and whether that's a lot of illnesses or just a lot of stuff. It's a lot of shit.
Honestly, I'm not excited because I actually have to travel this upcoming week. So I'm already dreading it, especially because I don't know if y'all noticed, but I'm already sitting here with like the inshore and the blanket. So this is pretty much about like how life is going right now. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. The first time, not the first time I traveled, but the first time we traveled together that was what, 23? 2023, I
Yeah,
think it was,
roughly. Yeah.
right? And I remember we're thinking like, okay, so we have a blind person and a person with like 75-pound bags. How are we going to get anywhere? Like this, and the worst part was I had never traveled by train like that before. So it was the blind leading the blind in that situation of like, where do we go?
Literally.
What do we do? How do we take care of this? Like the amount of thought that goes into travel. It's not just like, how many pairs of underwear do I need to take? It's like, do I have enough supplies, enough food, enough medication, enough whatever if the apocalypse hits and I'm 2 hours away from home.
Exactly. And then having to deal with whether or not you need to early refill medicines and the
Uh-huh.
absolute catastrophe that can be,
Yeah,
especially with CVS.
it's difficult. It really is. Like I know for me when I went to Vegas last fall for a healthcare advocate summit and I had to think about that. Now, obviously that's by plane. We're on the East Coast, that's on the West Coast. I had to think about all of my IV medication and then talk to the home health company and get them. They had to mix by a very specific day. So that way I had enough to get through the travel plus have extra and make sure that the extras weren't going to be out of date and have all the supplies that I needed. And I had to take all of those IV bags through TSA, plus all the
Oh
supplies,
no.
all of the like the tubing for the IV bags, like batteries and everything. Like, thankfully, I have family that lives out there. I was able to send like the non medicine supplies out to them, so not the stuff that needs to stay cool or the actual like medications, but just like the extra stuff, the batteries, the extra tubing, the stuff that like I just didn't want to have to carry. And it really, they take everything apart. I had that packed so nicely. I have to take everything apart and wipe everything down. Thankfully, I will say that my trip out and my trip back with TSA, they were fantastic. I was terrified just because I'm like, this is going to be an issue, but they actually were really good. But the amount of planning, weeks, weeks in advance, so utterly stressful. So I know how you're feeling right about now.
I would say the shunt probably is the worst part of it so far. Like, at least
Mhm.
for right now. Mostly because every single time I go to the airport, which is mostly why I use Amtrak, I literally have to warn every single person within like a 5 foot radius, hey, I can't go through metal detectors. Hey, if this has a magnet in it, this will literally reset my shunt and I will die. So that's like kind of not cool. Me trying to explain this to everyone while also not being able to see exactly where the hell they're at is just like an added layer of stress that I just don't want to think about. So it's like I'll have to deal with people literally like manhandling me around the airport because as soon as you identify as disabled, the first thing they want to do is throw you into a wheelchair and I'm like, guys, I don't need all the bells and whistles. Like, it's cool. Like, if there's ever a day when, like, God forbid, like, I need the added mobility, like, absolutely, I'm not gonna say no. But then, like,
Yeah.
having to deal with all of the added stress that you go through, especially when someone like me doesn't necessarily look that sick.
Hmm.
So as soon as I identify, and then I have, a guard at TSA who's like, well, why are you here? I don't understand why you're in my line. And then I have to try to, like, explain my whole life story.
Yeah, I joke with Adam that I'm like, if people question, because we've said it, I think on like every episode so far, like we understand, like we don't look sick. Like you're not going to, at first impression, you're not going to be like, oh, she's really got a lot, a lot of trouble. I mean, actually, maybe it's hard to say, but you're not gonna, instantly be like, oh, I think she really has a lot of health issues, right? So I joke where I'm just gonna like shirts up. Like, just don't mess with me. Like, I've got things attached to my body. I've got my port. I've got scars. I'm like, do you really want to just lift it? Obviously, would never do that. We just joke about it. But it's one of those things where, again, at first look, especially in situations like this, it's like these people are trained to kind of make snap judgments on first looks, which I totally understand, like why those things may or may not happen in certain situations. To be like, why are you here? Are you taking advantage of something? Like, are you just trying to get to the front of the line? What are you doing here? I'm like, no, I just like, I really need to get through this. Like, wait till you see what I go through. Like, wait till you see what is about to come through your line. I know when we talked about doing this episode right around that time, my husband and I were going away just for the weekend, like 2 days. And I'm stressing, like 2 days, couple hours from home. Like, if we forgot anything, we could have driven home and driven back. Like, it would have sucked, but it was a possibility. And I'm stressed because like I need to think of food. I need to think of every meal. I need to think of snacks. And if something happens to that snack, I need a backup snack. I need to make sure that I have this. I need to make sure that I have that. The mini fridge in our hotel room froze all our food,
Oh,
all of it.
damn.
So now that is like for both of us a worry when you think like, oh, everything will be fine. You have a fridge. Oh no, check your fridges, people, because we did not. And it was at like that highest setting and just didn't realize it. Thank
Oh, man.
goodness my medication was fine because if that was the case, we would have just had to go home. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't even have done anything. I'm just like, just get me out of here. But we were able to salvage some stuff, but other stuff we had to throw away. So now it's like if you lose everything in that situation, the hotel we were staying at did not have anything I could eat. Nothing. Like not even like a baked potato of any, everything's like either fried or smothered in something. So couldn't eat anything there. So you have to bring your own food. What do you do? Do you plan trips around food? Do you pick your hotel based on price or proximity to a certain chain of food like Chick-fil-A or McDonald's or I mean I know that's all fast
Or even
food, but
like an
it's just
organic grocery store, like a Whole
yeah, Whole Food.
Foods.
Yeah, Whole Foods. Yep. When we were in Vegas, we were like, where's the nearest Whole Foods? Because that's where I was able to get some stuff. But that's not always accessible depending on where you're going. So you might be left with Chick-fil-A, Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, Sbarro, or any of those types of places. So what do you do? And if you don't pre-think your food through, or maybe you're just not sure, is there a fridge? Can I get a fridge in the hotel? Do I have access to a microwave? How do you figure out what you're going to do for that
Which I'm
entire time?
terrible at. Like, I just want to just say for the record, I'm hot garbage at this, but I think you already know that about me. The
I've
best
traveled
I
with you
ever
before.
Oh yeah, no, like the best two times I traveled in my life were with Sam and then with Jessica Baladad, Rare Disease Week, when
Mhm.
she was cooking for me, which literally the best damn food I've ever had in my life. Everything she made was gluten free. Every single thing she made was healthy. I ate clean the whole freaking time, which is also shocking for me. And I think it was like the one time that I didn't have any symptoms
Yeah.
was when
Yeah.
she was cooking for me and making me matcha lattes every day. I was really
Yeah.
spoiled.
Yeah. I know that's why you got on your matcha latte kick.
It's been so good for my stomach, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to do like a recipe episode at one point.
Looking at where you go, you also have to think like where's your nearest hospital? And like what are the ratings on
Yes, like, do they suck? Is the ER going to be absolutely jam-packed? Like, if I go there with an emergency, can I trust that they're going to like triage me red like I'm supposed to be and rush me back?
Yeah, I don't really even trust any of that anymore because my
No,
hospital,
honestly.
when I went in and I was septic on a couple different occasions and I'm like there with like, 103 fever, like shaking very obviously, not doing well, and they're like, you can go sit in that corner over there. You don't want to doomsday everything. You don't want to think like, oh, what could go wrong? But if you don't, you can't prepare for it.
Exactly.
Like I have my mom suggested a while ago when I was packing. I had a few like trips last year that normally like we never go anywhere. Um and she's like, make a master list of like all of the things that you need and then just kind of work in the differences depending on climate, duration, everything like that. And I've looked at stuff and I'm like, okay, I need this, 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 and this to get through this many days. And when we were packing, again, just for 2 days, we were gone a Friday night and a Saturday night. That's it. Hi, Tomo.
Hello. Hello, sir. How are you?
He's like, I have a thought, please. Like, but
Just jumped in out of nowhere.
I So Adam's gonna use like a duffel bag, and I'm like, I'll take the medium suitcase. Like, we're only going away for a couple days. I couldn't fit for 2 days. I couldn't fit in there because I put medical supplies in there. They
Gosh.
took up almost a third to half of the suitcase. So I'm like, how am I supposed to even put a toothbrush in here or like a straightener or my pajamas in here? Like, there's not even room for an extra pair of shoes. I had to go
No.
to the big suitcase for 2 days and then packed it with food. I had a backpack. I had all this stuff and all of it's just packed with food everywhere. And I'm like, we're only going away for a couple days. Like, how how am I in this situation? And it's like you roll up with something and it's almost embarrassing like to go in when you're checking in, they know you're only there for a couple of days and you come in
And
with
you've
like
got like a
this
million
suitcase,
bags.
that suitcase,
You're
everything.
like,
Like,
I swear I'm not high maintenance. I'm just sick.
so definitely high maintenance.
Like, remember, like, Daphne from Scooby Doo? How, like, every time the gang would go out to do something, she would have, like, 15 bags. Velma would have, like, two. Like, Shaggy and Scooby
Yeah.
have, like, one suitcase, and it's, like, a foot-long sandwich.
Mhm.
Like, literally, like, we have to be Daphne
I
Blake. We
I
don't even
yeah,
like to be, we just are.
with a mix of Shaggy because I always have food.
Yeah, no, unironically, I will always have some kind of food in my bag. I don't care. Like, even my go bag to go to the ER, I
Hmm.
always keep food in that. Because
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
when am I gonna be NPO? When are they gonna
Hmm.
automatically just be like, hey, no more food? Like, I'm gonna sneak some stuff before I get NPO.
Yeah. Or are they just not going to give you anything? Because I've been in that situation before. It's like, hey,
Yep,
I'm gluten free. They're like, okay, well, here's a burger. And I know we talked about that too. It's like, I can't eat the
yep.
burger, but I
Here's one
digress.
apple.
Thank you. Super helpful. Even thinking about when we were traveling and trying to figure out food for the two of us. And I won't ever forget those French fries at that hotel, though. Thinking about
Oh my god,
traveling,
yo.
those are hands down. Like, I would travel back to DC just for those French fries because they were like the safe French fries, right? They were good and they didn't hurt.
I'm
Like,
about to cry. Thinking about those French fries, they were so good. You don't understand, guys. Like, it's not every day that you get a French fry that's that perfect. That
yeah,
doesn't make you throw up.
and
Oh my god.
multiple days in a row too. Like the
Ugh,
first time
actual
we're like, okay,
tears.
those are really good. That was not a fluke because the second and third time we went back for French fries, they were just as good the entire time. And they were
We
good leftover
literally
too.
didn't I tearfully thank the waiter and like ask to meet the chef.
Yes, you did. I forgot about that.
I just remember literally like I was crying just like this, and I was like, I need to shake your hand, sir.
For making us food. Thank you.
And I think like we made Jim tip like 25%. Oh
Sorry,
my
Jim.
god. Sorry.
No, but
Uh,
that was, man, that food was so good. Thinking
it
about it,
was.
actually, everything there was good. And it's again, it's very rare that those things happen because I've been that entire trip, that was like the only time I ever got a friggin' meal because I couldn't eat
Yeah.
anything anywhere. And that's like what do you do? If you're in a situation when you're with people that may or may not be understanding, we'll just be neutral on that, right? Because my husband will eat wherever I need to eat. He'll figure it out if it's a place that I need to go, right? You and I will figure it out. You're with your friends, they figure it out. But with
Oh yeah.
strangers, or people who just maybe don't quite understand like all of your dietary restrictions, like
Or they
what
just
do you
don't
do in that
ask, or
situation?
just decide for you,
Right? It's like,
like,
well, we're just going to eat here, so let's go. And it's like, no. So do you like, and this is almost like a rhetorical question, but also asking because I know what I would do, but I'm not sure what you would do in this situation. This hotel and this restaurant, there's nothing. You looked at the menu, there's nothing you can eat. Everybody else in your party and your group of people want to go to this restaurant. Do you go and risk the like, why aren't you eating? Or, how do you're in that situation. What do you say? What do you do in that situation? Because I could go either way. I could sit there and be like, I'm sorry. And I actually said this to somebody before a couple weeks ago. They're like, well, what do you do in this situation? I'm like, if there's nothing you can eat, and be like, listen, if I eat this food, I'm gonna have diarrhea later. So I'm sorry, I'm not eating. No one's going to question that.
no,
Nobody wants the details, so they don't
they're not gonna probe.
question that.
You honestly just out crazied them. They're not gonna proceed. Like, you
Exactly.
played your ace, and
Hmm.
it's over. Like, it's
Hmm.
completely over. Like,
No one's
see,
going to
my
want to give
problem
you
is,
anything.
see, I wish I could be like that. For me, my problem is, I am a people pleaser.
I know. We're working on it.
I am a people pleasy. Just, it's really bad. Genuinely. I don't know why I'm like this, honestly. And I feel like the vast majority of people would never ever believe that because everybody thinks I'm an asshole, which fair. Like, basically, I was in a situation recently where I knew that I was not going to be able to eat any of the food. I was not going to be able to do any of the things. I was just going to be sitting there and being a decoration.
Hmm.
Okay? Probably of the Halloween variety if we know me. I basically ended up just sitting there, just, having the occasional fountain beverage. And people did genuinely like come to be like, you need to eat something, you need to do something. Like, and I hate it because it's like always like the mothers of the group, if you will, that like
Yeah.
see it and like, and you're so sweet. I appreciate you. I think it's sweet that you care about me, but like, you have to understand, like, I know my body, I know what I can and can't do, and you trying to force me to eat and go through all the effort of preparing me a meal is just
Yeah.
going to guilt me into eating the thing that you just made for me, which is going to make me violently ill. Which has happened on numerous occasions because
Hmm.
I'm people pleasy. So the
Yeah.
lesson, don't be people pleasy. Be like Sam, play the ace, go crazy. Like, it's much better for your health, trust me. Do not be like me.
Well, it's hard because I've done both. Like, I've been in a situation where I'm like, I want to participate. These people don't really know me yet, or maybe they know a little bit, they don't know the extent of it. So I'm just going to go. And it's like, I'm good. I'm not hungry. Or like, I'm good. Like, or I have allergies. I can't do it. That was another thing. I'm like, if people ask something, just say, you have a lot of allergies and you're not comfortable with somebody else making your food. Because allergies is a thing, right? Like, it's not rare. So if you're like, or I'm gluten free and there's nothing here that I can eat, whatever, they'll kind of sort of stop asking. But it's like you're in that
Not unless you're at a
situation.
rare disease conference, because that's when everyone's like, oh my god, wait, you have allergies? What allergies do you have? I have allergies too. Let's
Okay,
compare
so we're not,
allergies.
all right, we're talking about being with like normal people. Okay. We're talking about the muggles here, not the witches and wizards. Okay.
True. That is true. We
Okay.
are the witches and wizards. I do love that. I love
But
that
like,
reference so much.
like, so you're already stressed from travel. Now you have to socialize and you have to deal with all the anxiety and the stress of like being around the food. And what do you do? Do you eat? Do you not eat? Do you participate? It's like, it's hard. But if you have 3 or 4 days left on your trip or whatever, or there's something that you have to do, you are not going to want to risk that.
Momo, don't do that. Stop it. No, you can't. Stop. Psst, down. No. Sorry. He was literally about to knock one of Darian's, like, statues down, and I had to act. Sorry.
We need a cat disclaimer on every
Momo,
episode. We
Darian,
may
get your son. You can't do that. That's bad. I'm literally gonna have to cut this out. You evil little thing. Get your foot off. Evil cat.
I just don't want to because that's just so funny. I don't even remember what I was saying.
I'm so sorry.
No,
He
you're
was
good.
literally going to knock like one of his like $100 and something
Yeah,
statues
no,
like
no, no, no,
off.
no. No, no, bad time.
He would lose his mind.
That,
Just psycho, dude. What's happening to me? What is going on? Why are you choosing today to be the devil? Why?
telling you, it's a black cat thing.
He just flew. How does does he have wings? He just flies. I don't know how he does it. He just out of nowhere, he just appears. He's just from the top rope. It's Tomo.
Meow mix. Actually,
Meow
no,
Mix turns your cat into
I,
John Cena.
yeah, because you can't see him anymore. Oh. All right. So I'll try to get back to my thought. Tomo, when someone says to you, just eat this or just try something and you say no thank you and you're very polite about it. You're like, "No, I'm good. I'm not hungry or I ate before, like I'm okay," or whatever your excuse is. Inevitably, you're going to get somebody to try to say, "Are you sure? Do you want to try this?" Whatever. Most times people are just trying to be friendly. They're not used to people not eating. So you are like this weird thing here sitting at the table. And they're like, what is this? What do I do with this? Do I ignore it? Do I talk to it? Do I try to feed it? Like, it's hard because people don't know what to do when somebody says, like, no, thank you, or no, I'm not eating. So I feel like, at least for me, it kind of depends on a couple things on whether or not I put myself in that situation. So if I'm feeling okay, I'll say mentally and physically to the best of my ability, if I'm not exhausted from the travel or anything else, I might choose to go to that dinner and choose to put up with whatever and whatever that excuse is or just deal with it because I want to be around the people. And other times, whatever excuse, and I pull myself out of that situation. Or just order something to drink and that's it, you know? So if I had to work through years of being uncomfortable in these situations, watching people eat all my favorite foods and not having anything to eat or being invited places or going places and nobody thought to, have anything that maybe you could eat. If
You
it's
mean like that
people that
one time?
yeah, yep, just like that one time.
That one
So
time?
actually it was like one, two, and three times, but um I digress. So if it's people that don't know you, you can't fault them, right? But it's like if people that like maybe know and you're here and you're like, I can't eat any of this
Or
shit.
if
It's like,
people know that
okay,
you exist and they know that you know.
I know that they know that we know that I know. Yeah, everybody knows, but nobody cares is really what that comes down to. And this is why I implore you to always travel with something. As the patient, as the person with the disease, I have to make sure that I'm comfortable. So that means packing my own snacks. It means bringing a larger bag or a cooler bag. I also, again, I have no shame. I don't have that embarrassment anymore. Like I don't care. I need to do what's best for me. And if, like I said, if that makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry that you're uncomfortable. But again, that's not my problem, and I'm my own priority. So,
There are times when I've been able to get beyond my people pleasing nature and just not care. I would say
mhm.
one of those times I flew literally across the country to a patient event and I got ridiculously ill. And I mean like ridiculously.
I remember this.
And it was like so bad that I was able to do day one, which like thankfully was like the day I was speaking and like I really wanted to be a part of it, so I was glad that I was okay to do that. But when I woke up the next morning, I was so sick that just the warmth of my bed, like like when you just get really comfy when you feel really sick and you have that nice warm pocket in your blankets and you're like, ooh, if I move, the cold air is going to come in and I'm going to
Uh-huh.
feel really terrible.
The perfect burrito.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was not breaking that for anything. I literally called everyone. I'm like, I am so sorry. I was like, I can't do it today. Like, I'm genuinely, and thankfully everyone was so sweet. They were so nice about it. And it was one of those times that made me remember, hey, at least 9 times out of 10, when you voice that you're not feeling well, especially like if you're at like a patient event, most
Mhm.
people are going to be like, oh my God, I totally understand. And they're probably going to tell you, I was throwing up this morning. Like, they're
Yeah.
literally going to
Or I
level
had
with
a
you.
migraine too, and I couldn't get out of bed either. Yeah.
Which, for the
Yeah.
record, at 9
Mhm.
a.m., that was me, bathroom floor. That's like why I'm all blanketed up. But no, like it's something where you just have to get beyond, being afraid of sharing. It's being confident in what you're experiencing.
Yeah. Now, I know we want to hit like our discussion points, but I do want to actually ask you a question because you have had this experience more than I have. And we touched on it a little bit with like airport stuff and asking for assistance in places. So I remember when we traveled and we were traveling by train, you were talking about like the red cap assistance and all. I think that was what it was called, right? So I know that there are these
My
different types
favorite
of
people.
assistance. So can you talk about that a little bit? Because you have more experience than I do, and I know that some people, it might be helpful for some people.
I can actually give you two really important tidbits. So, especially when you're traveling by train, like especially Amtrak, they have something called the Red Cap service, which is by far my favorite group of humans in the universe because as soon as you identify that you have a disability or that you are even just sick that day or your bag is even just slightly too heavy for you, it doesn't matter what the situation is, they immediately listen with compassion and they just throw your bag onto a cart and
Mhm.
say, follow me. And they
Yeah, they were
immediately take
helpful.
you down to the track. They situate you. Like, it's really, really nice. Like, they, as soon
Mhm.
as you say that there is some kind of issue, they immediately guide you to exactly where you need to go. No questions asked. And you don't even have to purchase a accessible ticket to have access to that service.
Okay,
Now,
that's good to know.
I do still recommend buying one if you need one,
Mhm.
because the seats definitely do give you more room for your bags, especially for you, like being able to like have space for your bags. It's better to buy the accessible ticket. Like for someone like me where, yeah, I have my cane and I bring my backpack and all that, like it's I don't really have to 9 times out of 10, and I like to make sure that people that need it have it. But
Yeah.
also, something that really honestly saved my life recently because I got really I mean, it's no surprise. I think I get sick every time I travel. That's why I hate it. But I was literally just at Rare Disease Week and on my way home I had an issue with my shunt and I was so disoriented while I was trying to get home. And thank God for my friend Richie who gave me a hidden disabilities lanyard before I left. He's like, "Levi, you're going to put
Yep.
this on. You're not going to take it off." Like I'm like a child. And he literally, he's like, you do not take this off. He's like, no matter
Mhm.
where you go, he's like, you wear
Mhm.
this as long as you are traveling. You understand me? And I'm like, yes, I do.
It's funny. Sunflower is on my note because I was gonna say I know you had one now, and I
Yeah,
use that as well.
it's literally like it's such a godsend because as soon as somebody saw me, it was actually the Red Cap service, believe it or not, they are trained to identify the hidden disabilities lanyard. Every place is trained to identify this lanyard. As soon as they see it, as soon as you identify, hey, there's something going on, it's the
Yeah.
same type of service. I did not realize that I had lost track of time. I had lost track of direction. I couldn't read my signs. My train was getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
He found me just in time and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "What's your ticket number? Like, what train are you going on?" He's like, "That's leaving in 5 minutes. We gotta go." And he like hopped into a golf cart and like sped me to the train. They were like 5 minutes late that day because of me.
Well, that's like when we traveled. So I'll make sure to put this in the description of the video too, just in case anyone wants to look into it.
Yeah.
I have the lanyard myself, but I also purchased these that you can see.
Oh
It's
yeah,
the
they're
same
so
thing.
awesome.
It's for
And
my
that's exactly
backpack.
what it looks like.
I put this on my backpack and on my like rolling suitcase that came on for my carry-on. And then I actually got medical tags that said like medical equipment inside on the suitcase or the cooler bag really that I was
Which you
using
have to
for
do.
everything
Like
else. Yep.
It's really a nightmare if you don't. Genuinely,
Yeah.
I've had them take my medicine bag and say, because I didn't have the proper tags, because I didn't have the word medicine listed on my
Mhm.
bag, they're like, this is a personal item. You have to find a way to put this in your
Yeah.
carry-on.
Well, that's why I like flying Southwest because you get anything that's like medical like that flies for free. So I remember like we go to get on the plane and they're like, wait, because I have a regular rolling carry-on and I have this one. And I was like, looked, I'm like, no, this is medicine. And it had the tag on it. They didn't question me. Now, I'd already gone through TSA. They already okayed all the medication. They, did their swipe thing with the little pads and everything and went through. But because it was already labeled, they were like, oh, okay, no problem, and go through. Will everybody have an easy experience like that? Probably not. The next time I travel, I might not have that same experience. But if you can do these things to help identify yourself in those situations and identify your need. So that's getting a hidden disabilities lanyard, getting medical tags on stuff, or
Never flying
whatever
American, ever. Don't ever fly American. Just don't.
that that
Or
too.
United. Don't. With a
No,
disability,
no,
don't. No.
no. I
Like Delta's
personally,
good. What was the one you said? Like Delta I thought was really good.
Southwest,
Yep,
Southwest.
Southwest and
I
Delta.
love Southwest for that. I've had good experiences. I flew by myself a few years ago, and I had all the same thing: cooler bag, a backpack, and a rolling thing. They were so good too because they knew I was dealing with, all of this stuff, and I have disabilities, and I was traveling by myself. I was not in the same health place that I am now that I was then. I was not feeling, I did not do that great. And it was also the first time I'd ever been on a plane by myself. And not only was I
Mm.
by myself, I was by myself with all my shit. So they were so good about helping me get from A to B and making sure that like I got the attention that I needed if I needed it. So that was really good. And those are the things that you want to look up. Cost is also a limiting factor, but if you can make that decision for yourself based on how you will likely be treated or the experience that you have, definitely do your due diligence because that could
A
make or
feeling,
break that
too.
for you. Yeah.
Because God forbid, you also have to factor in how your body is going to be feeling based on a certain time of day. For me, I know 9 a.m. every day, I'm going to have an attack. Like, I know that that's exactly when it's going to
Hmm.
happen, and I know I'm going to be on the bathroom floor for a little while.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to plan for that, and I have to keep in mind that I need to give myself a couple hours leeway in the morning because I'm going to be sick.
Hmm.
So I either have to travel a whole day ahead of time to be somewhere in time. That way, I don't have to like, because I always get like really, really stuck when it comes to the times of day that certain trains and like certain flights will leave.
Hmm.
Especially like being in like Pennsylvania and having to like fly to like Harrisburg, for instance. It's not like you're flying out of Philadelphia, you don't have as many options.
Hmm.
So I have to like factor that in 10 times more. I think like there's like one of my friends, Abby Hauser, wrote an article about what it takes to show up to a lot of these events. Because a lot of the bigger orgs really kind of don't think about how how many things it actually takes for you to be able to show up as a patient advocate, as an active
Yeah.
patient in that
Forget about the
professional space.
patient piece of the patient advocate. Yeah.
Like, how many meds did you have to take to get here? How many injections did you have to get here? How many things did you have to order ahead of time just to make this happen? How many bags did you have to bring? How much extra money did you have to spend to check those bags?
Hmm.
Is that even covered? I just even
Yeah.
thought about that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, I know. It's very difficult. And I know I do have a couple other links from other patients that, and maybe we can include that article in there as well, because I think that people listening, if they're traveling for any type of conference or, rare disease week, I know we just had that, but, for the future, make sure to include those links in the bottom of the description once I write
Absolutely.
that. Um, but I think that that would be helpful. But like, thinking about making something manageable or like what would you give somebody as a piece of advice as someone who's traveled more than most chronic illness people that I know, which I'm always like, I don't know how you do it. So what would be, if you could pick one piece of advice, what would you choose?
I'm going to pick the exact opposite of every single thing I do, which is make a checklist, wake up early,
Mm-hmm.
plan ahead,
Mm-hmm.
don't procrastinate.
Yes, and these were five pieces of advice, but I'll take it as one.
But no, like seriously, the checklist I would say is the most important. I've recently invested a lot more time in making checklists for myself, and genuinely
There's
that is
more to
something that has
think about
helped.
now.
Yeah.
More to think about for you now. And I, as someone who uses checklists, check them twice is going to be my piece of advice to you.
Yep,
And
because you
to cross
probably will
things
mess
off
that
in
up
another
too.
color. Maybe
Yep.
not for you because, certain colors for you are not always your friend. But for the majority of people, I'm going to say cross things off in a different color and circle things that you still have to pack in a separate color from that. Because if you don't, your eyeballs will not call attention to things, and that's how you forget stuff. Because that's how
Oh,
we've gotten like 20 minutes into something, and I'm like, oops, I forgot.
and check also the TSA website for all of the information on what you can and can't bring and how you must bag and or bottle it.
True.
That is huge.
They also can offer, I don't know if every airport does it. I would think so because it's a TSA thing, not like an airport thing, but you can request I think it's called a passenger support specialist or something along those lines. If you
Yes.
call them, you can schedule something, they can meet you and kind of help walk you through
They
that
do.
process as well. So,
They do have a lot of systems in place for people to assist. And I
mhm.
think that that's really great because honestly, I don't think there are too many other resources like that out there as
No.
far as being that personalized. So
Mhm.
that's something that I recommend everybody utilize because you never
Yeah.
realize honestly what's going to be an issue until you get there and the TSA is like, "Hey, you can't have this, and this, and we have to throw like 90% of it away." And you're like, that's
Yeah.
everything I needed.
My experiences with TSA as a chronic illness patient have been nothing but good. I have nothing but good things to say. So I've been lucky. I know that as well. But, I go through the machines and they have to scan me differently because I have, much like you with a shunt, not for the same reasons, but I can only go through certain machines because I have my port, I have, my Dexcom, I have my insulin pump. So there are things that can and cannot go through those machines. And I had my insulin pump on my leg and that could go through the machine. And I went through and they're like, what's in your pocket? And I'm like, crap, I'm going to have to pull my pants down. Thankfully, I did not, but that was the first thing that came through my head. I was like, it's my insulin pump. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they have to take you aside and pat you down and do all this stuff. And I'm just like, whatever, just
Yep.
let me through. Like, do what you got to do and just let me through. But,
Be like, is that an
um,
insulin pump in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
happy to see you always.
I love us. I do.
So to close this out, because as
Perfect
per
way to end it.
usual, we get off track a little bit, but we did, as I was looking through my notes, I think we did hit almost like everything that I was pointing out. But a
I'm proud of
question that I
us.
wanted for both of us was to like, what has travel taught you about yourself, your limits, and your resilience in living with chronic illness?
What has travel taught me? Honestly, it's taught me to be more honest with myself and with the people around me. Because 9 times out of 10, that is the only way to avoid anything going terribly wrong. So I think there's a certain amount of trust in self that you have to have, and there's a
Hmm.
certain sense of confidence that I recommend developing and maintaining.
Hmm.
Because those moments when I do cave and like get to that more people pleasy place, I know those are the times I've been the most sick. And I think that that's something that I can learn from, and I think that that's something
Yeah.
everyone should learn from. So really listen to you, honor your body, treat it with respect and dignity that you yourself would want to be treated with. And that's really my thoughts on that.
Yeah. For me, I feel like I am always going to over prepare, over stress, and over worry. And because I do that, I make sure that everything's okay. And I'm not suggesting to overstress and over worry and overdo it. But for me, I think it's really showed me like my capabilities in doing something. And like you were talking about trusting in yourself, like really trusting in myself, my gut, what I know that I need. And I will stress about it for 2 days away. I was fully stressed about that for a week. I will always stress about that. I will always worry about any and everything that I can think about that will go wrong. More often than not, none of that's going to go wrong. But because I've allowed myself that moment of stress, that moment of panic, to get that almost out of my system before getting to the day of when you have to travel, whether that's by train, by car, or by plane. And as a piece of advice, I would always say if you can, travel with somebody, because there are moments, and you know this, I know this, that we cannot speak for ourselves in situations. So if you have the ability to travel with somebody that you trust, I would highly recommend not traveling alone. If you do have to travel alone, to take the steps that Levi and I were saying about, reaching out to the TSA services, reaching out to the Red Cap service to make sure that you have things that identify you as a person with needs of whatever those needs may be, and be honest with yourself and like the people around you. So, not necessarily the stranger sitting next to you, but the people who are on the plane, on the train, checking you in, the registration. Like, if you need something, don't sit on it. If you are by yourself, go like alert somebody, because the last thing you want is an emergency that you have to deal with now and you're by yourself, maybe in like a foreign area to you. So, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, as someone who's almost ended up going to a hospital in another
Mhm.
city out of desperation, yeah, 10 out of 10, don't recommend. Listen to Sam.
And that's a reminder for yourself to listen to my advice on that too.
Yes.
Yeah,
No, it
right to
is.
yourself.
Like, I would say that's the bulk of our chronic illness friendship has been me getting advice from Sam and listening to Sam.
You're
But I
like,
do want to say,
hey,
in your defense, though, in your defense, she is also one of the most fun people I've ever traveled with. I still remember the day when I wanted to sleep in because I was dead. And
I was
Sam's
like, bitch,
like,
get out of bed.
I know you packed sneakers and I know they sell activewear downstairs. We're getting some. We're going around DC. And we literally, I think we walked more than we did the day before. We had
Mhm.
taken like 17,000 steps the day before. The day after, 19,000. And that was all Sam. And I actually enjoyed it. Weirdly enough, I had fun. I did
Mhm.
spend a lot of money.
Well,
I
that wasn't
don't
my fault. I just need that
we
was
were
not me.
we were gift shopping. You like to gift
That was
shop
all
as much as I
you.
like to gift shop. No, don't lie.
So so here's
Don't
the thing
lie.
though. I
You
stayed
bought
within
stuff
my
for your
budget.
dad. You bought
I
stuff for Adam. You bought stuff for your cat.
While you're not wrong, I stayed within budget. You, my friend, did not.
That's because I was eating
Yeah,
and the food was
at
expensive.
a snack budget. Yeah, you're not wrong there.
Yeah, no, it was really it's very expensive. DC park food.
Yeah, but we had fun.
We
But
did.
all right, well, hopefully y'all enjoyed the banter, and we'll bring the banter back in the next one.
We'll see you on the next one, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we will see you guys soon.